one of the more, really bright spots of Week 12 was that the Steelers, for the first time in 45 games, cracked 400 yards of offense.
Pittsburgh, man.
And the reason why this is a big deal is because Matt Canada, their previous OC, they fired him. And in 44 games with him, they were unable to crack this mark. And now without him, first game, Kenny Pickett looks better. The receivers look better. The running game looks better. So what do you think about the Steelers cracking this 400-yard mark?
It is one of the most, and I'm sorry, Joel, if you had something to say. It is one of the most funny things I've seen in sports in such a long time. We've all been calling for it. Shout out to my Steeler fans, of course. Shout out Pally. Shout out Joey. We've all been calling for. Oh, of course. How can I disrespect John Tortorelli? Pick-a-side legend. How could I disrespect him? We've all known the obvious. Matt Canada is not a good offensive coordinator. When we were talking about the Steelers prior to the season starting, we said, hey, Steelers, if you fire Matt Canada, we're all in. What week is it going to be? So they fire him in week 11. The offense is horrendous. Unwatchable, honestly, that level bad. How is it that 1 week removed from moving off from him, you're seeing Kenny Pickett throw over the middle of the field? You're seeing Kenny Pickett go throw and just dot up all over the place. That was shocking to me because we haven't seen Kenny Pickett really be unleashed in that regard. Throwing for over 300 yards, I never thought I'd see the day of Kenny Pickett do such a thing. And to be as in control as he was. The points weren't there. They only put up 16. The red zone, something they got to clean up, no doubt about it. But this was the best Najee I've seen all season long. It's not just a halfback dive, hope for the best from a Najee Harris. No, they're actually running him in between the tackles on the outside, getting him going, getting Jalen Warren the ball in ways that we've seen Jalen Warren get the ball. But the true star in the backfield this week was Najee Harris. That's a great sign. You use a first-round pick on him. You want to see him succeed. And if I'm a Steeler fan, and my main takeaway from the Cincinnati game is Najee Harris is not washed. It's due to situation that he is failing. And so now you finally see it against a poor rush defense in and of itself in Cincinnati. But nevertheless, you saw execution. Almost go for 100 yards for Najee Harris. Get into the end zone. Throwing over the middle of the field, which to me is the hugest thing. Because I think you had a tweet about it showing the charts about it. It is hilarious. He only throws to the left and right sides of the field. Not a throw. Not a throw to the middle of the field. What did they do in the first drive of the game, Riv? A tight end seam to Pat Freiermuth.
He killed it.
And Pat Freiermuth had the best tight end game of the week. So that's why it's funny to me because Najee, under Matt Canada, we're talking about him like he's one of the worst backs in the league, one of the least explosive backs in the league, one of the more disappointing backs in the league. We're talking about Kenny Pickett being replaceable next season.
Still might be.
Possible. We're having conversations around George Pickens and Deontay Johnson, which I never thought were fair. And Pat Freiermuth, who we've known can be a really good tight end in this league, all getting slander on their name. And 1 game removed. 59-game streak is ended, and they go for over 400 yards.
Did I see the Deontay thing where he walked past
He's
the
losing
fumble?
me. He's losing me.
Yeah, that looked bad.
He's losing
That's
me.
your guy, though. Yeah? Never forget.
Fell off.
I like Deontay Johnson, too. Let's not just leave Joel alone in that.
He had a drop touchdown, too.
Yeah.
I charted these myself.
And that was a dime. That was a dime from KP.
I charted these myself. Completions to the middle of the field in weeks 1 to 11 for Kenny Pickett. He had 12 total completions to the middle of the field with Matt Canada. In week 12, when Canada was fired, the game after Canada was fired, he had 4 completions to the middle of the field. So basically, in 1 game, he matched a third of his total that he's had all season under Matt Canada. And I feel like that is going to open up their offense that much more. You mentioned their rushing offense being much more explosive this game. I think that's a great thing. That's a great sign to come for the Steelers. The Steelers' defense, that they're able to win football games with the strength of their defense and just being opportunistic. If this offense can catch up slightly, I might have to be changing my tune on what I think this team can be because I still think they're like a first-round exit, but they're not like a pretender that I think they were, a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you can still say that they're not a legit contender.
They aren't.
They'll
No,
give
they're
somebody
not.
some hell in the first round.
By still not being rude by any means. We can understand that the Pittsburgh Steelers just know how to win games, but there are teams that are better. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh is one of those teams where you see them in the first round. It's not going to be easy. Like, you're not going to be able to, like, that's a game where you got to go in, like, there's a chance we can lose this game if we, have a turnover here or a mistake here, or if we played 2 lackadaisical here. But to talk about Matt Canada, dog,
Jesus Christ.
You're going
I don't know
so
if
far.
I don't know if the mic picked it up. I hope it didn't pick it up.
No, I definitely. Drew said, "What if the Broncos win the Super Bowl?" Yeah, I'm gonna put that out there.
What if?
That's so far. Like you will have to go to Eli Manning run.
I think I would happily.
It's a
die the
Steelers
next
topic.
day. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about
Would
teams
you
like
rather
that.
bring this week in the NBA? Bring it up for sure.
I appreciate that.
in the NFL.
This week in the I always say NBA. This week in the NFL. Bring it up.
I'm sorry, bro. I just get emotional thinking
No,
about
listen.
it.
Then listen. Bring it up this week in the NFL. We'll talk about it.
Is anybody going on the Eli Manning run?
It's Russell Wilson.
Jordan Love.
It's Dak Prescott.
Dak? No. But the thing is, Dak and Eli. That's kind of disrespectful to Dak a little bit.
You think
At that
so?
point in Eli's career, at that point to where Dak is now, it is a little disrespectful.
Eli always needed an offensive line, though.
But Eli really solidified himself.
So you think Dallas is going to the Super Bowl?
No, I don't think. No, I just said
He's saying
he
if there
needs
is
one.
anyone. He's saying if there
So
is
you-
anyone.
Are you
I think
banking
right.
it?
Well, right now you're talking about the reputation around these quarterbacks.
No, I thought
No,
we were
what
talking
I'm
about
talking
they're a
about-
low seed going.
No, I'm talking
Wild
about
card,
Cinderella run.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson playing some
that-
good
No,
ball.
I understand, but the Cowboys will be a wild card.
but they'll be a
yeah,
third seed.
but like I don't
No,
want to
that'd
say
be like a fifth.
I know what you're
Shit,
saying.
I forgot
not
that's how they
Mickey
do it.
Mouse because they're
Shit.
obviously one of the best teams in the NFC, but if they were in their conference,
I'm
not
so-
in a
I
division,
understand
not
what you're saying
yeah.
about Eli and the reputation he had. I don't think Dak's reputation is any better. Like I
But
think
no, this year though he's having his best season of his career.
Dak
And that's
is
why
having-
it's
Dak is having
it's
the best
turning
season of his
around.
career, but I'm not discounting it. But the negative reputation and stigma around who he is as a quarterback is still very much there.
And to do it for the Cowboys too, who it's almost a joke at this point. The playoff wins, the lack of Super Bowls, it would be big for them.
I'm all the way in.
I'm so hateful of the fact that you can be 8-9 and get a home game in the playoffs. Like
It is- it
like
is
you can
fun.
make it, but do they have to get a home game? Like that's a little insane.
That's gonna be the Falcons.
Or
Yeah,
the
it's
Saints.
bad.
That
Yeah,
was
it's
the
gonna be
Bucks
gross.
last
The
year.
Saints are not making it, bro.
They may not, but one of them teams are going
Who's
to make it.
making
I'm
it?
going to be
The
aggravated.
Falcons. Listen, I'm gonna be honest. The Saints, I don't trust them. They're the most
You trust the
untrust.
Falcons?
I don't trust them either. But the Saints are the most untrustworthy
Weapon and bacon.
team in football.
They're cooked.
They're just losing too many games. They should have beat the Colts.
Somebody told me.
this
I
past
bet
weekend.
$100. Somebody told me Buccaneers would get to 10 wins. So I have a $100 bet.
Oh, that's,
well, you
that's
cashed.
free cash.
For sure.
They need to win 6 in a row. for that
He's
to
he's
happen.
an idiot. So you know,
And he will at least lose one to Jordan Love on his way there. So, because J Love, baby.
Hey, it doesn't lose. You got to go about Matt Canada. What are you about to say?
Oh yeah, he sucked. Yeah, he was probably one of the worst OCs in NFL history. But definitely, and I was talking to my buddy because he's a big time Steelers fan. He was just like, I was like, yo, bro, how you feel? Jesus Christ, how you feel about firing Mike Canada? Kenny Pickett looked great. He was like, yeah, no, Kenny still sucks. But yeah, he's like, the offense did look better. We can make a push because, like you mentioned it, Joel, Steelers are still very much in it. I think they have a playoff spot as of today, so they are very much still in it.
7-4.
Yeah, they're seventh or sixth, one like that. I think they have the tiebreaker over the Browns because they have more division wins, so I think they might be like 6 or something like that. But the Steelers, if they can get hot at the right moment, if they can generate this new offense, hit throws through the middle of the field, get Warren and Najee involved. Now you have Pickens, Deontay Jones, Pat. If you can get this all, because this offense, it never lacked talent.
Yep.
It just lacked creativity. It lacked a good scheme, looked good play calling, and then Kenny, of course, had some duds. But at the same time, if you can have him play game managing football, and then you can have these talented guys kind of carry him, which is okay. This Steelers team could catch fire at the right moment, could maybe upset a team in the first round. This team's goal is to get to the playoffs.
What do you think will happen if they run into a team like the Dolphins?
I knew you were going to do that. I did 100% knew you were going to do that. I have no comment on that.
The Dolphins are not losing.
The Dolphins would win that game.
You think so comfortably?
Easy.
I think they should be the favorites.
I'm not ready to
they
go.
should.
I'm not ready to jump all in on the Steelers. Not,
What do you
not
think,
that far to
Joel?
beat the
Yeah,
I
Dolphins.
mean, like
a playoff
Miami's defense has been very good, and I'm not going to even talk about the Jets because, again, like you say, any team can look good against the Jets' offense for sure. But since Week 8, the stat that I'm going to talk about a little bit later, they've been the best defense in football, statistically, EPA wise.
They face like nobody.
You could say that,
It
but
was the Raiders, was the Pats, Jets,
the Chiefs.
Chiefs.
That's the one that's a good one. But then the other three diluted a lot.
The
If they are
Raiders put up, let's
13
see.
points.
Yeah, no, against the Dolphins, that's not even the one I'm talking about.
Oh.
But against the Chiefs, they gave up their first 100-yard rusher in a ridiculous amount of games. And the Chiefs' defense has been money all season long. Division game, of course, different conversations. But it's not like we're talking
No,
about.
listen. I think the Dolphins' defense it should be great because Jalen Ramsey's back. but they need to do it against like better competition for me to buy in on the defense being truly elite.
They
Listen,
still
they
got a
got
few more
the. I
weeks,
was
so
gonna
you gotta
say
play
they
elite
they got the
teams.
Bills, they got the Cowboys, they got the Ravens.
Yeah.
You
That's
want
the
to see
test.
it?
Those
There
are
it
the
is.
tests.
That's
right
the big
there.
test. Yeah,
That's
that's your
the
play.
three-game
That's your
stretch.
playoff
I'll tell
test.
you what I
That's
don't
your
love.
quiz before the exam.
Having Dak and having him go up against Miami, I don't love it.
No,
I don't love it.
Why not?
listen, Dak's been able to do
Because for fantasy
against damn near
purposes,
everybody. He struggled against Carolina, and that's really it.
well, it struggled. Script
For
said
fantasy, I'm
Yeah,
saying,
yeah. Script said you don't need to pass the ball anymore.
I'm happy for Steelers fans. Definitely happy that Matt Canada is gone. He's been terrible. I don't think there's a more hated man in Pittsburgh than Matt Canada has been these last 2 years or however long he's been the offensive coordinator there, because like Riv said, the talent was never in question. It was just the lack of creativity. And it also felt like at some point, whether it was last year or this year, that the players just kind of, it did seem like there was some sort of detachment between them. You have the clip where Pickens makes that big play down the sideline, and Matt Canada looks pissed off that this big play just happened that basically won them the game. You have that clip too, which was last season, I believe,
Boswell?
of Chris Boswell in the tunnel. Matt Canada celebrating. Chris Boswell's like, "This isn't because of you." Just two things that I'm picking up. Who knows? Everyone could have loved Matt Canada, but just a couple things that the outside looking in, and then the on the field product was just so bland, so ugly, and you had some limitations with Kenny Pickett because we know he's not this Superman type quarterback that can change arm ankles and get out of the pocket and do some things that we've seen guys like Josh Allen, Mahomes do. I think that's understood, but undoubtedly you'd be able to do more than what Kenny Pickett has showed, at least this season and last season. I do think Pat Freiermuth, funny enough, because we were shitting on him for the first month of the season, was a big help to this team. You know, he's been hurt he came back last week. Before that, though, he was out multiple weeks with an injury, and he came in, had the best game of his career. You know, career high in receptions, career high in receiving yards, 120 yards, and the middle of the field, like you mentioned, when you see those next-gen stat graphics, it just pops out to you how the middle of the field, they do not attempt a pass under Matt Canada. First game with the new offensive coordinator, Pat Freiermuth goes crazy. So happy for Steelers fans. I still don't see them as like this contender type team, but they're 7-4. They're off to such a great start, such a strong start 12 weeks into the season that they're going to make the playoffs. Matchup wise, though, they're going to have to go up against one of those division winners, whether it's Jacksonville, Kansas City, Baltimore, or Miami. I don't like their matchups against any of those opponents, but the fact they're getting to the playoffs, unfortunately, I think means it's probably going to be another year of Kenny Pickett, and ultimately I think that's what's going to hold them back in the long run. But it goes to show, if you have a well-coached team, you're going to have probably Defensive Player of the Year, and you have some talent on offense, they're going to be able to win games.
Yo, KP had some dots. Those throws to Freiermuth over the middle of the field, that throw to Pickens, that throw to Deontay, the drop touchdown by Deontay. He had some dots.
I'll take him for the Jets quarterback, you know.
That's not insane.
I would take basically 90% of NFL quarterbacks over Jets quarterbacks,
95.
including the backups.
No, it's crazy that the Steelers are 3-1 in the division. They've beaten the Browns, Ravens, and
Cincinnati.
the
I'm sorry,
the
Browns,
Bengals.
Ravens, and the Bengals.
Yes.
They beat them all.
That's crazy. Because the Ravens game, they were down. They came
Jordan
back.
Addison just sold.
The Browns did the same thing, so it's not really.
Versus the Browns.
They've beaten all of them too.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy how this team is 3-1 in the best division in football. Granted, that
Addison
one
just
game,
dropped
Joe
it.
Burrow did not play in, and
Tipped
he's injured for the
interception.
season. But
Facts, yeah.
still, you know, they're just finding
did-
ways to win.
Yeah, you're right. He did. Joe Burrow did not play.
Can you guys guess the top 10 leading rushers since week 9?
Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs is number 2.
Christian McCaffrey.
McCaffrey's number 3.
Raheem Mostert.
Raheem Mostert is number 6.
Kyron? Off just one
No,
week.
no,
Kyron's not here.
imagine.
Total yards he might be in there. Jonathan Taylor?
Jonathan Taylor's number 8.
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields is not here.
What'd you say? What number? Week what?
Week 9. So the past 4 games.
Bijan. Risky.
Bijan Robinson is number 9.
I like that.
Clutched.
So we're still missing number 1, right?
You're missing number 1. You're missing number 4, number 5, 7, and 10.
It's Pacheco here.
Isaiah Pacheco's not
Okay,
here.
I didn't feel good in that.
Travis
one.
Etienne?
Travis Etienne is not here.
I didn't
been-
think so.
he's been
He's been
struggling,
iffy.
yeah.
He has been iffy. Running backs.
Somebody said he hasn't scored in a month.
One of them is a tandem, meaning 2 of the running backs on this one team are in the top 10.
Okay.
Damn.
Because there are 2 players tied for 10th place.
Is Dante Freeman on here?
Deontay Foreman is not here.
That Foreman, excuse
Yeah.
me, Freeman. Disrespectful.
Shout out to a GOAT. A tandem, you said? So, I mean, Achane hasn't played.
I I said most.
Pearson,
Singletary. Singletary's probably on there though.
Singletary's number 7.
Yeah, Singletary had 300 yards in 2 weeks, something stupid like that.
Tandem.
it's not.
So what numbers do we have? And
It's not
can you
James Cook and
lower the-
Latavius Murray. Right?
Lower the
No.
lower the brightness on your computer.
So
You can see it.
I can.
you
So
have
you know the answer.
No.
You-
Oh,
you have number 2, Josh Jacobs, number 3, McCaffrey, number 6, Mostert, number 7, Singletary, number 8, Taylor, number 9, Bijan.
DeAndre Swift.
DeAndre Swift is not on here.
Oh, I'm surprised. Saquon.
Saquon Barkley's tied for 10th with his other player.
Okay.
So the tandem's not tied for 10th. They're just both within the top 10.
Exactly.
Jameer.
Jameer Gibbs is
Demont.
number 4.
Nice.
It's
Demont?
Demont.
Demont is not here.
Interesting.
So they're not the two. They're not the duo.
David Montgomery.
Yeah, he's not.
He's not here.
That's Demont.
Oh,
It's
got it.
not Javante and.
So right
P.
now,
Ryan.
I didn't feel
all
like
you're
it was
missing,
Javonte.
all you're missing is number 1, number 5, and the guy that's tied for 10th with Saquon.
Jalen Warren.
Jalen Warren's number 1.
Najee.
Jalen Warren's number 1, and Najee's tied for 10th with Saquon.
Okay. So who we're missing?
Number 9.
You're
you said?
missing number 5.
5.
He's on one of the worst teams in the NFL.
There's a lot of them.
Reese.
No.
Not Brees Hall.
One of the worst.
There's a lot of teams that are up. Oh, Ramondre.
Ramondre's number 5.
Cooked.
Nice.